Hey guys, we're here with the solar off-grid project. Got a portable inverter box here with no battery. 10 meter extension cable here, which I came up with a way to pull it out. You pull that out and then wrap it up, which is quite tricky because if you don't do it this way, you'd have to have it come through the center and not be plugged in, and it would turn around again and again and again. So this is the way to do it. This is the way to wrap it up. You find the halfway point and wrap up. So in there, got that switchboard. I put this on here to help it not tip over. I got the side door. These are 3D printed on each side for airflow, and basically that gives you access to reset that, turn it on and off. That's a 2000 watt inverter, and it's a white side. I ran out of orange, so I get. And then there's the back. So this is 120 amp Anderson. Most common are 50, so I had to get the 120. So I'll just pause this video and head over to the other project. So here's 1800 watts of solar panels, 300 watt panels. They're in pairs, so there's two put together, two put together, two put together, running at 80 volts roughly, at about 8 amps with the sun out, 8 to 9. And they're in 3 strings that run side by side, so 3 different cables. So there's one string, there's another string, and then another string here. And they come down here, as you can see, 3 cables, and they come around here to here where I crimped them together, then just siliconed the back end after I crimped it to an MC4 connector. So I can disconnect that with MC4 if I ever want to. Ran into this breaker given to me from someone who upgraded their solar roof. And that runs down, like I said, at 80 volts, but 3 strings, so it's not 8 or 9 amps, it's times 3. And that runs into this charge controller, 100 amp, 24 volt. So even with the sun pretty much down, I'm still getting 28 volts on the PV input. So this charge controller arrived faulty. Basically, the load output is just keep pretty much every 24 hours, don't mind that mosquito, every 24 hours that just keeps going to error mode. And I'd have, for about 2 weeks I came out resetting it every day to run my water pumps and what have you here. So they were, so I was getting by, and then I arranged to return this charge controller to the people that sent it to me, and got my money back, but they didn't want to pay for postage. So to save money rather than replace this, I was like, well, if I can find a low voltage cutoff device, which is what this does. So on the load output here, you've got 21.4 volts. If it ever gets that low, instead of consuming the battery until the BMS saves it at 20 volts, it'll cut off and then it'll turn back on at whatever you choose it to be. Here it's 23.5. Well, this thing up here does the exact same thing. Here I've got the high voltage set at 26, so it'll turn back on at 26. And here, if it ever gets as low as 21.4, it'll cut off rather than relying on the BMS system in here. So there's 2 batteries here, 5 kilowatts of watt hours, and they're running at 24 volts in series. A copper plate that I've drilled a hole in each side to join the 2 rather than a cable. So something terrible happened during this setup. I was feeling pretty run down one day, and as I was making this little extension piece here at the back that runs around, well, I rushed it, and this is the one I cut off. So basically the positive is at the opposite end, should be the other side. So when I finally got that, I was all excited. Yep, finished the project. And I hooked it up to these 3 speed controllers. There were 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. Smoke came out the top one, fried all 3 of them, dead. Luckily I had that spare controller in storage from another pump, so that got me by, but destroyed about $180 worth of replacement to replace those speed controllers. Luckily the pump still worked, but the speed controllers are fried. So I've ordered 2 more, and I'm going to try to find a cheap alternative for one of them, see if it works with just a brushless motor speed controller, which may or may not work. We'll see what's going on there. So here I've got a truckies oven, 24 volt. I cook pies and stuff in there, which is lots of fun. And it comes from here. So basically XT60 connectors. They're run in 2 different strings with 2 different 20 amp cables. So there's 2 breakers for them. 1, 2. Only one of them runs through this low voltage cutoff device. So this other one on the left, as I've labeled it, no low voltage cutoff, no low. And this one says, so basically the way I see it, that's 30 amps max. This uses 18 amps, for example. So I get pretty close to blowing that thing up if I start using everything, all the pumps, you know, they're about 4 amps a piece. So what I figured I'd do is pumps and air pumps and things that are always on and happening all the time, they're always going to be on the cutoff circuit that gets protected from low voltage cutoff. And then if I come out here and just run the oven on a timer or something, just short term, it's not going to be on the protected circuit for low voltage. Even if it does get low voltage, it's annoying, but the BMS will protect the battery, so it's not as bad as lead acid or yeah. I'd probably have to jump start the battery, which doesn't sound like too much fun. You've got the charge controller won't charge it, from what I'm hearing. You have to reset it or something. I'd have to look that up. And another thing that's going on at the moment is, I'll just show this. Yeah, okay, hon. And that's from before I had those new solar panels. I had this too, just running some pumps during the day. And then right here, what I've got is this little neat device. Tells you the volts, watts being consumed, the amps running through. It's awesome. So I've got this dead 18 volt battery. It's not working at all. I'm trying to jump start it, as some people on the internet are doing. I was trying to figure out, like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it charging up? So I used this little DC to DC regulator, pumping it out at 18 volts. But I was like, I'll put this in the circuit and I'll figure out, is that battery actually receiving any charge at all? And it's not. It's taking 0. So I'm going to have to throw it in the bin or give it away to some guru that wants to pull apart the cells and figure out what they want to do with them. But yeah, lots of fun. Highly recommend high amps, or I should say large PV systems to charge up your battery. Where I am located here, you got all these trees everywhere, trees in the morning to 11, and then in winter, got those trees over there that just never end. So from about 1:30 in the afternoon, just no sun. So if I had lead acid batteries, they take about 10 hours to charge, and it's said with lithium it takes about 3. And that's because of the high resistance. Basically, the charging current is severely limited. So with lithium, you're winning, and then with high amperage charge controllers and large PV arrays, you can basically charge up your batteries in a couple of hours. So just with that window from say 11 to 2, I can pretty much top up these batteries if there's a little bit of sun that comes out, which is really, really neat. And something else to look out for is fog and even some cloud. You'll see when the sun is hiding behind the trees, if you've got fog, you'll be surprised at the amount of energy you can take in from your charge controller, because it appears that the sun is reflecting off all that fog and capturing the energy. So it's pretty awesome. That's about all I can think of for now, so take care guys, bye. Forgot to mention that Anderson plug there, that's 120 amp Anderson plug, and that's where I plug in the inverter if I ever get a brownout and need 240 volt power. I've piggybacked the low voltage cutoff device off there, and that is also on a 20 amp breaker, so so that'll cut out. And all the run coming from the battery is got a 100 amp breaker, and the same 100 amp breaker that runs to the Anderson, so the 100 amp cable is protected from melting itself to pieces. So I thought I'd just add this little bit of a video, show the electric bikes charging, and just installed the PVC pipe gutter. So there it is. So that's the second leaf eater downpipe area, and keeps the rain off us. I just welded up these little brackets, and 4 of them, and then that does that. And then the only other thing I wanted to highlight, which I missed on the earlier video, I referred to that as a 20 amp breaker. So the 220s are, one's there, one's there. So they're running the 2 circuits that supply there. So the one on the left does not have low voltage protection, and the one on the right does. So the one on the right is connected to this thing here. And then it's quite late in the day and the sun is hiding behind trees. There's not much to show, but I just wanted to highlight again. So you got 79 volts. So that's what it's coming in at. Each, so you got 9 amps, but 3 strings. So potential for 27 amps coming in. But then when it MPPT converts, has the potential to get up to, well, not that, but this charge controller has the potential to pump out 100 amps at 20, whatever your voltage setting is. So mine's set at 27.8. So I've seen this get as high as say 65 to 70 amps. I don't think I could get, well, I can't get any more than that because I've only got 1800 watts of solar panels connected. So I think at 24 volt battery bank, this charge controller can handle 2600 of a PV array maximum before you'll damage your charge controller, and then you get a bit of losses. You do that math, and that'll pump out 100 amps for the output charging. But it's been great how quickly this charges up, as you can see. Oh, something else I'll point out here. So it's kind of like a little shed thing here. So I've got 4 layers of shade cloth. I welded up a frame of patio tube, and then I've connected it rubber there to the fence line, and there, separating that. Drilled a hole there to let the water out. Something similar. So it's 4 layers and then 2 layers at this area. So no matter how heavy it is, water doesn't really get through that. It's pretty good. So far so good. Cheers guys.